Okay. Yana. I know you're there, Jazz. I'll be with you.
Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah. Did you track with that? Okay.
Yeah. And I lived in a van too. I don't know what the correlation is of living in a van and the non-duality thing, but I find a high correlation. See it all the time. Um, it it seems here when I listen to these pointings, it's just like checkmate. It's like the best word I can use, maybe like. And then like sitting and exploring like what the direction that you gave, like I did a lot of then I don't know if you know what LU is. I was involved in LU quite a bit, Liberation Unleashed. It's a forum that you can get a guide on.
I've heard of it.
Okay.
I have heard of
And
it.
yeah, they guide through like direct experience. Like that's the guiding through direct experience. So there's a lot of practice there and in that. And it feels like the sense of like fault, like silence, and then like the brink of something, and then almost like falling. Like I saw that you and many others, I see that they're like, oh, it was just like this, right?
Mm.
And it's more like grab onto something. I don't know. Does that make sense? Like,
I promise you won't. I promise you won't fall anywhere.
yeah, but it's like it feels like something's gonna like maybe that's fear.
Yeah. Give me 1 sec. I just want to turn the light on. Give me 1 sec. It's a little bit better. Not much, but anyway, it's a little bit better. Sorry, Yana. Go on.
Um, yeah, it feels like maybe it feels a little bit like what Rebecca was describing, like the frustration, but it's like there's something on
Yeah,
the
yeah,
brink. There's something
yeah.
close but far.
Good. Have you heard me use the life is a marathon pointer? Okay.
I'm a runner, so that's be helpful maybe. Or not.
Perfect. Perfect. Life is a marathon. Yeah. Say from the age of 2, right? Life is a marathon. Okay. And then one day we stumble into spirituality. Yeah. Most people stumble into spirituality from some sort of inner crisis that's happening or traumatic event or something. Most people. Not all, most. And we kind of, sift through all the spiritual things and, no, that's not for me. No, that's not for me. No, no. And all of a sudden we stumble upon to non-duality. Yeah? And it just seems to be an attraction to it. Yeah. There's no dogma about it, it just, yet there's some pull. That's what it was like for me anyway. I was just, oh my God, this is it. Right. But if somebody had have asked me, what do I mean by this is it? I wouldn't have been able to tell them. But it was an inner pull. Sometimes people refer to it as a calling, right? But there's just this inner, oh yes, So life is a marathon. We get onto this non-dual path, yeah, as a seeming personal self. We get onto this non-dual path, yeah. And then we start hearing things like, there's no self there. There's no personal self there. Holy shit. You don't have free will. Holy shit. Yeah. You're not the thinker. Holy shit. Yeah. And we start to explore those things. I'm not the body. Yeah. You are not the mind. And we start to explore those things. Yeah. And we do start to unravel some of those things. And, you know, one of the first things that usually we come to see is, holy shit, thoughts just happen. That's usually about the first thing that we see. Yeah. Holy shit, thoughts. And holy shit, all my life I thought I was the thinker. What a surprise to discover that was false. Thoughts just happen. Yeah. Yeah. And then we kind of get stuck there a little bit. We go, yep, thoughts just happen. So thoughts just happen. But then there's me that has personal thoughts about the thoughts that just happen, not realizing that the personal me and the so-called personal thoughts are also just the thoughts just happening. Okay. So that needs to be seen. Yeah. Free will, that's laughable. Oh, that's just it's so incredibly laughable. If we all had free will, none of us would be sitting here. None of us would be sitting here. We wouldn't be on this path. I'd be happy as Larry, doing whatever I deemed that I wanted to do. Why? Because I have free will. I can do anything, you know. And I used to joke, you know, and say, Jesus Christ, if I did have free will, the first thing that I would have done was I would have changed the content of my thinking. That would have been the first thing that I would have done, because it was critical, somewhat abusive even. What's wrong with you? You're useless. You'll never amount to anything. You're never going to get this. You know, horrible internal dialogue that used to go on, you know. So if I had free will, that'd be probably the first thing I would change, would be this. In fact, I would choose to have nothing but blissful thoughts for the rest of my life. Blissful thoughts about the world, blissful thoughts about self, blissful thoughts about others. It would just be, right? And you discover you can't do that. Well, that's the end of free will. The free will is over. Yeah. Then we hear about time. There's no such thing as time. Holy shit. What do you mean there's no such thing as, yeah? Well, how do you squeeze time into now? How do you do that? When is it not now? And you start to realize from your own direct experience, it's always now. Yeah? And it's only the mind that creates an idea of an apparent past and an apparent future. But what we always and only experience is now. Now, if you can sit in the purity, in the absolute purity of now, and then ask yourself the question, how do I squeeze time into this? How the hell do you squeeze time? Now, my teacher used to say, still does. When does one now end and a new now begin? And you look, you go, right? So there's this process that we go through, yeah, this understanding that we go through. And then there's an apparent personal self here that believes it's on the path. It's trying to understand, it's trying to get this. Yeah. We even make the mistake of believing that, yeah, it's me that's aware of the thoughts, and it's me that sees that thoughts just happen. Me that sees or is aware that thoughts just happen. And that's false data too. Is there awareness of thoughts just happening? Yes. Is it me that's aware of thoughts just happening? No. So that needs to be seen. So there's this whole unwinding, this whole unraveling rather process. Yeah. Then we get to where you are, Yana. Yeah. And it's like this sense that you're close. It's like it's almost like you can see the finish line. Do you know what I mean? I understand this is a pointer, okay? It's a pointer, but you can, or you know that the finish line's just around the next bend. Yeah, you're cheering, and right, you know it's just around the next bend, yeah. And what do you do at that point? You give it everything that you've got. That last little bit, we hunker down, yeah, and we give it everything that we've got. Yeah? And let's just, for the sake of this story, say that the mind, yeah, is something that we've carried under our arm here for that whole marathon. You just carried it under here, yeah. There's this feeling, oh, I'm close, but just don't seem to be able to get there, you know. Now, at that point where you are, when the mind gets finally, remember we're carrying the mind under here, right? When it finally gets put down, yeah? Guess what happens to the finish line?
It's here.
It comes rushing at you.
Yeah.
Yeah. But here's the thing. Here's what we usually do. When we get close, like you are, yeah, we hunker down and we use the mind even more. We're really trying to use this mind and work out, what am I doing wrong? Why can't I get this? What haven't I seen? What haven't I understood? Do I need to go back over this again? Mind really trying now. Yeah. We don't realize until we put that down, that finish line. So if this is the finish line, yeah, and we're chasing after that finish line, now we're really trying. Here's what happens. We're really trying. And here's what happens. Yeah. And it becomes disheartening.
Yes.
It becomes so disheartening, you know. You know what it's like to be a runner, right? Imagine the finish line just keeps getting pulled away from you. At some point you go, fuck this. No. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it feels like kind of right now. It's like,
Yeah. So at some point, yeah, there has to be a shift away from the mind to just here. Because here is the finish line. Just here. Now, the problem with that is, if, Jana, if we're still taking this here to be the personal self, then we haven't seen what we're not yet.
Mm.
So there needs to be further unraveling. You have to understand that this life force, this energy, this consciousness, this awareness, this beingness, all these labels that I'm giving it, right? This here-ness, this now-ness, again, I'm giving it all these labels, right? This, yeah, can't possibly be jhana. Now you have to know why it can't possibly be jhana. You have to know why, without any doubt. You must know what you are not. Stop chasing and waiting. More unraveling. Once you know 100% what you're not, what you are is self-revealing.